Hi, beautiful, and welcome to the Neo Self-Care Podcast, the oasis of self-love in your week. I'm your host, Vashti Maya, here to sprinkle some authentic gems on your self-care journey. No matter where you are in your journey, this podcast is your weekly reminder and your gentle nudge to grow into the radiant being that you're meant to be. So I invite you to grab your favorite drink, kick back, relax, and let's dive into the world of unapologetic self-love. Hey y'all, and welcome back to another episode of Neo Self-Care. I am your host, Vashti Maya, and before I get started with this week's episode, I do want to take the time out to address last week. I did post on my Instagram that I would not be coming out with an episode for the week of the 23rd, but just in case you didn't see that on my IG, it was my son's birthday week, and I did no work for myself, just catered to him pretty much the whole week, so that's why I did not post the episode. So if you were looking for it, you're not going crazy, it just was not there, okay? So yeah, now that I got that out of the way, welcome. If this is your first time tuning in, I am so appreciative of you being here. This is the Neo Self-Care Podcast, which is all about self-love, self-care, getting your mental to the place that it needs to be in for you to become the best version of yourself. So if you're new, I'm glad that you're here. I hope that you enjoy what you hear today. Most importantly, I hope there's at least one single thing that you can take with you to make your journey more advanced. Okay, so I am recording at home today, so you might hear my kids a little bit in the background. Hopefully they do mommy a favor and not be too loud, but we're gonna go ahead and get started. Okay, so pretty much for this week, we're at the end of July. This is the last week being in July, and I feel like it's the perfect time to release a couple of things. So you guys know that I'm very much into astrology, astronomy, and all of those celestial things. And one of the things that we just had not too long ago, maybe about a few days ago, was the full moon. Okay, now full moons are all about releasing things, letting go of things, and purging and no longer holding on to things and all that great stuff. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that the full moon, was in Capricorn. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's what it was. And so with Capricorn being a very, I think I want to say willful planet, if that makes sense, or willful sign. It's about getting things done. Okay, if you've been procrastinating on letting something go, Capricorn is going to come in and make sure that you take the steps to release the things, rather it's forcefully or rather it's just a nudge in the right direction. But either way, it was all about releasing, just like every full moon. Being that we are also at the end of July, it's a perfect time to let go of things so that you can go, or what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of it, but proceed to the next month with new things, new minds, new goals, new anything, Neo, right? So that's what's really getting me, or got me to want to communicate about today's topic. For me personally, there has been a few things that I am leaving behind in this month of July, in different departments, and we'll break all that down later, but in different departments. And one of the biggest things I could say is the way that I have just been kind of stagnant, kind of doing stuff, kind of not, doing the bare minimum, doing just enough to get by, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really serve me, so it was either be all the way in or be all the way out, but it was no in between stuff. Do you know what I mean? So that's kind of where it's been for me, more so when it comes into fitness. I talk about that a lot because I believe that self-care is not just about the mind, it's about the body, it's about the soul, because the three are one, mind, body, and soul, right? Or some people say mind, body, and spirit. All of it is a manifestation of yourself. So you hear me talk a lot about the body, because you have to have that alignment all the way through. So one thing that I, on a personal note, just sharing, decided to leave behind was no longer being active, okay? Because it's important to move your body. It's important to get motion, whether it's going on a walk, whether it's actually working out, whether it's, anything. It's important for you to have that motion. And one of the things that I have decided to let go of that was holding me back was the lack of motion. And pretty much just making excuses of why it can't be done and letting that fall away. Just fall away. And so I can, embody something new, embody something true. Another thing, that kind of was holding me back, that I felt like it was just time to, to completely release is certain people in my life. And that happens. That happens to all of us, and we'll talk more about it, right? But sometimes you get to that point where you got to ask yourself, does this person, place, or thing do me more good or do me more harm? And if it's doing more harm for me, is it right for me to continue holding on to it? And so conversations like that you have to have with yourself, like that is most important. So that's what we're going to kind of just talk about. I want to just give you a quick little introduction so you know what today's theme, topic, or whatnot is. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So pretty much, I feel that when it comes to things that are holding you back, I feel like that sometimes some people, it's like you can identify it, but you might have this sense of, I don't know, I don't want to be wrong, I don't want to sacrifice. And so even though you may be able to identify the things that are holding you back, you have almost like this subconscious blocker. So your conscious mind is not able to identify it, but it all stems from you truly knowing what's not good for you. So I want to talk a little bit about identifying what's holding you back. There are different type of things that often will hold somebody back. It could be toxic relationships. It could be negative self-talk. It could be fear of failure. It could be past traumas. It could be anything along that description. It really just depends on you and yourself, right? But pretty much holding on to what's breaking you down is like carrying a boulder up a hill. You're never going to reach the top until you let it roll away. And a lot of you guys need to get to this step. A lot of us, I say you guys, I mean us, we need to get to this point that we're okay with letting the boulder roll away without thinking that we're missing something, without thinking that we're making the wrong decision, without thinking about how it's going to affect someone else, right? Because I always say, if you are too busy focusing on the well-being of another person, you don't have that time to focus on yourself. And although it may sound a bit selfish, it very much is being selfish. You have to be selfish with yourself, because if not, then what happens? You reach some type of burnout. You will get to some point to where, you stay being held back. And there comes a point where you have to just be real with yourself and make decisions and take, opportunities, or take a leap of faith that may seem a little bit scary, but it all starts with identifying what exactly is holding you back. So if it's a toxic relationship being lover, relationship being friend, relationship being family, relationship being business partnership, anything in between, if it is a toxic relationship, you have to really be able to identify if this is holding you back or not. If there are moments where you feel like you can't say what's really on your mind, you cannot truly be yourself, if you are getting to the point where you're just like, damn, like this person or this situation is making things seem very uncomfortable, or maybe you feel like, oh, I have like this type of uncomfortability that's like around every time. Maybe you get anxiety every time you see their name pop up, or maybe you're around them, you're like, damn, I really could be doing something else right now. These are all signs, and I kind of talked about before, like paying attention to the red flags. Like, I think that was in the last episode, if I'm not mistaken, but it's really real. Like, you really need to pay attention to people. Do not be afraid of letting go of someone because you're like, well, I don't know if I'm gonna find another friend again, or this is like my only friend, or what if this person is mad at me? What if they are mad at you? What if they are? And I know we're getting back to the type of episodes where it sounds like that I'm yelling at you guys, but I love y'all and I need you to just be real for a second. Like, what if they are? So what? Is it better for you to hold on to something that is literally hurting you on the inside out? Or is it better to just release control, release the fear, and release that person, place, or thing, right? But we're talking about people right now. But you have to ask yourself, what type of person are you? Who do you want to become? Do you want to be the person that everybody just walks all over? Do you want to be a person that people just can talk to in any type of way? Would you like that to be the standard for you? Or do you view yourself as being a little bit more high standard, and do not allow people to talk to you any type of way? Do not allow people to mistreat you because you know that you deserve the best, whether it's the person, place, or thing. Which one is it? Because at the end of the day, it all comes down to how you value yourself to be. So, with that being said, let's tell stories. You guys know I give a little bit of my life to let you know that you're not the only person going through something. Sometimes we all be going through stuff, but no one talks about it, so we think it's only us going through it. With that being said, story time. I had a friend, if I could call her a friend, for some years. And over the years, there would be some little things here and there that was kind of like side-eye behavior. You guys know what side-eye behavior is. You're just like, okay, I'm watching, right? But there was a lot of like positivity in between as well. Now, in the mix of me and this person being friends, like, we've definitely talked about a lot of things. It was definitely a person to confide in over the time. Like, I feel like our families got close and all that. And then there was like, besides the other side-eye moments, there was a particular thing that happened, something very, very serious that would really make or break a person. And in that moment, that person showed me exactly who they were, how they felt about me, what they thought about me. And surprisingly, sometimes I still gotta pat myself on the back, I kept my composure and was just like, okay, like, this is what it is, okay. And did what I need to do to block that person out of my life and no longer have them there. And did it suck? And did it hurt? I mean, a little bit. But then I had to start looking at the history of our relationship. And I had to realize how toxic our relationship actually was. I mean, when you're with somebody, friends, family, lovers, whatever, and they bring out the absolute worst in you, you have to start thinking like, is this a positive person to have in my life? I mean, maybe they don't have you like doing stuff like breaking the law, but if they have you like, throwing back shots every day, and you're over here trying to create a business, and now you're drinking bottles of wine, or you're over here trying to, like, work out, and they're over here taking you to different fast food restaurants or whatever, you gotta ask yourself, is this in alignment? And if you try to say something like, oh no, I'm good, I gotta slow down, they start talking about you like, oh, you're brand new because you're not doing this anymore, or oh, you're brand new because da 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 da. No. Sometimes you got to keep people at a surface level if you want to be around. But when it starts to change you, when it starts to mold who you were or who you had become, and you start reverting back to old ways that were not the greatest ways, you gotta ask yourself, is it worth me having this person in my life? Is it causing more damage to keep them here? Or is it causing more damage to separate away from them? Which one is it? Compare and contrast. You have to ask yourself these questions, because what happens is we end up being being at this place where we're just like, I don't understand why positive things are not coming towards me, while good things not happening for me. But then you look at your social circle, and your social circle is completely opposite of whatever it is that you're trying to have come your way. Does that make sense? I hope it does. It needs to make sense. It needs to make sense, because it's very much true. Like, you can talk all the talk about your desires and aspirations and dreams, but if you are surrounding yourself with somebody who does not care to think about where they're going to be, not even a month from now, don't have no type of goals lined out or nothing, and you're always surrounded by this person, never talking about it, never doing your own thing, what's going to happen? You're not influencing them, but they're influencing you. Then you start to drop down a couple levels. And then you start hanging around somebody who's very self-conscious and very insecure. You keep doing that enough, you will become the next insecure and self-conscious person, because your confidence will not allow your confidence, or you will not allow your confidence to radiate out of respect of another person who can't have their own light shine. Do you get what I mean? And that's kind of how my relationship was with this person. And it's like, I knew it, but still I have that part of me. It's just like, you know what? I could probably change this person, or you not necessarily change who they are, but help them to see that there's something better. Help them to see the greatest and better version of themselves. And so I stayed longer. What was it called when you over welcome your invite or something like that? Like, it's just, I stayed and I stayed and I stayed because I saw this person for their potential, not who they were. Meanwhile, all the signs were there, all the flags was there, everything, until this particular day, and it was in my face, and it was too much for me not to ignore, and I cut them off. Because that's what makes me feel better, and that's what makes me elevate. And I realized that by releasing, one boulder releasing one boulder or releasing one piece of the chain, I can get up a little more. Now I'm not chained down. If you have 4 different chains on you and you release one, now you can move a little bit more freer. Now you can do a little bit more to get rid of the next chain, which leaves 2 more. And now you're up and you feel like, oh man, I could probably take on a little bit more. And you have the strength to take off that next chain or release that next burden. And now you're practically up. You just got 1 more chain, but you have already released all 3. So if you released all 3 chains, you can do the last chain. And so then you get that last one out the way. And what happens? Now you're up, you're at it. You can go, you can be free. And that is an analogy, but that's exactly how it is when you release the things that are holding you back. People, places, situations, doesn't matter. They're all chains holding you down, and you will not be able to thrive and become the person that you truly wish to become until you free yourself from those chains. Free yourself from the chains. It kind of reminds me of, the 8 of Swords, I think. In the traditional Rider-Waite Tarot, I think it's the 8 of Swords I'm thinking about. It's always a person who is stuck. They're always chained down or stuck. But it's always something that they can break free of. Sometimes their eyes are closed and they're not looking at the chains. They're not looking at the chains. They're really just weak pieces of cloth that they can tear off. They're not looking at it. They're not looking at their problems. They're just feeling like, oh, I can't. Oh my God, Meanwhile, you hold the answer the whole time. Take off your blindfold and notice that these chains are not truly things that you can't get rid of. You can get rid of these things. Same thing as negative self-talk. How many times does your negative self-talk keep you from moving forward from something that you truly want to do? How many times do you feel inspired, like, oh my God, I'm gonna do this? I know a friend, she's a content creator now, but it took her forever to get started because of her negative self-talk. What if somebody doesn't pay attention to me? What if they don't like me? What if I look stupid doing this? What if I get no followers? What if I only get 1 follower? What if all this negativity kept herself down, okay? She did not take that leap of faith. And she'd be like, oh my God, Vashti, I wish that I could do this and this like you. And I'm like, girl, do it. Oh, I can't. Because what if this person says this? And I'm like, what? What did you say? You know what I mean? But that is something that was holding her back. She is breaking away from that now. She has a voice. She is all up on these timelines. You see her. It don't matter if she has 1 like, 10,000 likes, 20 likes. It doesn't matter. She is still unapologetically herself. Why? Because she released what was holding her back, which was that negative self-talk. She released it. And by releasing it, she was able to grow. She was able to move forward. She was able to see something from a different perspective. Fear of failure. The fear of feeling like you're going to fail. And you don't even do it because you're so afraid that you're going to fail. Not realizing that you are crippling yourself. Not realizing that you're allowing something that has not even truly manifested physically stop you from allowing yourself to manifest something physically. Had to get something to drink on that one. I'm just saying, fear of failure, past traumas. How many times you tell yourself, oh, I can't do that because this and this happened. Oh, last time I did this and whatever. That was the last time. If you stay caught up on that last time, you're never going to get past time. You're just not. You're not. Because you're too caught up and still caught up on the things that happened in the past. You have to release the things that are holding you back. And you have to be able to identify it. Because if you fail to identify what's holding you back, how are you going to move forward? How are you going to proceed? And I know this can be a very sensitive topic because, leaving a relationship, rather as lover, family, friend, whatever, it's a pain. It's a pain. And a lot of people talk about relationship, like love relationship aspect of it, but divorcing a friend is hard too. Divorcing a family member is hard too. Divorcing a side of yourself is hard too. But you have to do it anyway. Do the hard. Staying in the same situation is hard. Leaving the situation is hard. Choose your hard. And like I said, I know it's going to be a very sensitive topic because things are hard, but I would be doing you a disservice if I did not tell you that you're going to have to just do it anyway. Like I said earlier, holding on to what's breaking you is like carrying a boulder up a hill. You'll never reach the top of it until you let it roll away. You would never find freedom if you keep allowing chains to be your master. And it's unacceptable. You can do way better than that. So you need to identify what's holding you back, and then you need to let it go. Have you ever let go of anything that was like a negative influence in your life? Like seriously, have you? And if you have, think about what happened when you let that go. Person, place, or thing. What happened when you let go of that negative energy? Was it mental clarity? Was it emotional freedom? Were there better opportunities that aligned with you? Like, really think about it. When you choose to let go of negative behaviors and low vibrational energies, and you start taking on more positive behaviors and positive or higher frequencies, it is a instant change, because all of a sudden the way you're thinking changes. All of a sudden the things that you're perceiving are different. You're looking at things from a different perspective. You're like, oh my God, how did I not think about this before? How did I not? You will have so much mental clarity. I'm telling you, I have done it too many times to count. And if you have never done it, just do it. Just do it one time, because one time is enough to keep you hooked. It's bro. Take a hit out of releasing something negative. Take a hit out of letting go. I guarantee you're going to be like, oh my goodness, what else can I let go of and transmute and bring in something positive or different? What else can I do? What better opportunities are out there waiting for me that I could not see because I was too busy carrying this boulder, because I was too busy being chained down, being anchored down. If you were chained at the bottom of the ocean, chained at the bottom of the abyss, and that's all you've ever known, imagine what it's like when those chains break free and you find yourself breathing the air of the surface. But it all starts with you. Just like everything else. Everything starts with you. I can sit here and tell you, let it go. Be like Elsa, let it go. Let it go. Right? Like, I'm just saying, I could. But you have to experience it yourself. You have to release control. And you have to release the fear. And you stay consistent at it. Glow up, grow up, grow up. Stay consistent. Let it go. Letting go isn't giving up. It's giving yourself the freedom to reach new heights. But first you have to ask yourself, do I deserve the freedom to reach new heights? Or do I deserve to stay chained down? Do I deserve to stay in the same situations constantly, wishing and hoping that things would be different, but not having the strength to release the things that's necessary? What is more important? You or them? What is more important? That or you? What is more important? Are you important? It sounds like a simple topic, but it really takes yourself back to the mirror. Are you important? Do you deem yourself as being important? Or do you feel like, I'm alright, so I guess I'll deal with alright energy? Because let me tell you something. I am damn important. Period. Like, that's just what it is. And the only person who have an issue with me saying that is a person who has an issue within themselves because they wish they can feel that way. I've had plenty of friends, associates, because they're not friends anymore. Plenty of people who I consider friends and I could see their light and I'm like, yes, girl, yes, there you go. You got this. Look at you. And they're over here looking at me like, oh, you think you're so confident. Oh, you got a college degree. Oh, I'm like, girl, what? You can do it too. Because let me tell you something. I will never dim my light to make somebody else feel better about their little broken light bulb. I could point to you and show you where to get a new light bulb so that your light can shine too. But I'm not going to dim my light in the process. And neither should you. You should dim your light for nobody and nothing. Rather it's an addiction, rather like a food addiction, drug addiction, alcohol addiction, it don't matter. Never dim your light for it. To be who you are at all times and be aware of the little moths and mosquitoes that are circulating around your light. Don't let them land on it and dim your light. You got so many mosquitoes and moths sitting on top of your light bulb, you can't even tell that it's on. Learn to let go. Learn to let go. Because you're going to be asking yourself, well, why didn't I do this a long time ago? Why? Where you will end up is better than where you are now. So how do we let go? Number one, like I said, identify the thing that's holding you back. Is it a person? Is it a place? Is it a thing? What is holding you back? Get a piece of paper, type it up on your phone, title it, what I need to let go of. Number one, what is holding me back? ? And then type and write in the things that are holding you back. Person, place, or thing. Identify and acknowledge what is holding you back. Because you can say, oh yeah, Vashti, I'm going to do this. But then you have no idea where to start because you haven't even identified the things. It may take a few minutes. It may take a couple seconds. It may take a couple of days. It may take a month. Either way, you need to identify these things. Because sometimes you don't even think about it until it happens. And you're like, oh shoot, there it is. That's the thing that's holding me back. So identify and acknowledge the things that are holding you back. After that, create a plan to address and release these barriers. Create a plan. What are you gonna do? If it's food, right? Because food addiction is real, y'all. But if it's food and you're like, I know that if I eat this type of food, this is always gonna hold me back. Like I already know. Then you need to create a plan about like, okay, how am I going to, not let this be an issue anymore? How am I going to, combat this? What is the plan? Create the plan. I know that I have an issue with eating junk food all the time. So maybe if instead of buying like some Takis, I can go and buy maybe like some Himalayan salt chips or avocado oil chips or something that is a healthier alternative. If I know that I love eating sweets, maybe I can kind of throw in like some fruits there. Maybe I could try different fruits and see which one I actually like, because I'm not going to go and buy apples, because apples to me, y'all, apples are not sweet to me. Like I feel like when I want something salty, sour, I'm going to go get me an apple. If I'm thinking of something fruity, apples do not come to mind, period. And that just might be me, but it just doesn't. Pineapples, kinda. But when I think of like something fruity, and I'm like, oh, I need something sweet, I'm gonna go get some berries. And not every berry, like a strawberry, some grapes, like that's what I'm gonna stick with. Watermelon, maybe I'm just not getting the taste for it, but that's what I'm gonna do. So just because you're changing your habits, you gotta still taste the things that you like, still taste the things that taste good to you, right? So create a plan to address it and release those things. I'm going to, maybe I can't go cold turkey, even though I eat out 7 days a week. Maybe I'm just going to eat out 6 days a week. You know what I mean? That's a change. It's a change. You're starting to make the change happen. All right. If it's a person, how do I address this person? Is this a person where I can say, hey, I really still want to be your friend, but there's some things that you're saying to me that I'm not really cool with. Can we talk about it? Find a way to be respectful about it if you can. Or is it a person where you can't bring up nothing because they shut you down and they just don't care? Create a plan to address it. And if you know that they're not going to hear what you have to say and you think it's best to just release them, then just release them. If it's a place and you're just like, you know what, I really need to stay here, but I don't like the area I'm staying or whatever, see if you can move. There's always a way around it. Sometimes you don't get the answer right away, but when you write something down and you sit with it, the answers will come. So create a plan to address and release the barriers. And then engage in self-care practices that promote emotional healing, like meditation or journaling or therapy. And maybe if you don't want a therapist, then get a life coach but you have to engage in self-care practices, because promoting and creating a sense of emotional healing, that's what's going to fill in those gaps that you are going to have, because you have removed something that was once so normal in your life, that something has to take its place, and it's going to cause an emotional disturbance because it's like that repetition is gone. So you're going to have to find a way how to promote that emotional healing within yourself. But with everything, the first step to letting go is realizing that you deserve to be free. And if you have to write that down and keep looking at it in order for you to stay strong and stay consistent about the change that you really desire in your life, the things that you need to let go of to become the person you really want to be, then so be it. So be it. See, your story of letting go could be the light someone else needs to find their way. You never know how you truly show up for people in this life. You never know. Each one teaches one. That's my philosophy. Each one teach one. So you don't know if that, you can let go of one thing and now all of a sudden you're just this beacon of hope for somebody else. You don't know. And you never will know if you don't do the things that you're supposed to. You get what I'm saying? So learn to let go. learn to release. And I'm gonna leave you with an affirmation. I should start doing those again. I'm gonna leave you with an affirmation that I want you to take with you and switch it up, change it up, how it resonates with you. But I want you to tell yourself, I am worthy of a life free from the weight of my past. I let go and embrace my growth. Let's do that again for those in the back. I am worthy of a life free from the weight of my past. I let go and embrace my growth. I like that. Right off the dome. I like that. No, but for real, y'all, like it's important. It's so important to let go. It's so important to let go, because you just don't know. You don't know how great you can become. You don't know until you know. And I know, like, sometimes when we talk about letting go of things, again, if it's addictions, I know that shit's hard. I know. But especially if it comes like to people, like sometimes people can be our biggest influencers. They absolutely can be. And if we keep allowing people who we know that we should cut off, people we know that is just not a positive light in our life, if we continue to allow them entry and access to who we are, then we are simultaneously creating a what's those doors called? Like a vault, or like a bolt to who we actually are. So we lose ourselves. That's what I'm trying to say. We let people land, and while we're letting people land, we're taking ourselves further and further and further away. And you have to be willing to identify it, and you have to be willing to let it go, and you have to be willing to see your value in yourself to understand why you have to let things go, and you have to be unapologetic with it. So I hope that this is beneficial for you guys. I hope that some of you guys take like notice and hints with this, and you go out there and you just keep shining and release things, and know that things are going to get better. And if you're too afraid to release it, tell the divine to release it for you unapologetically, without pain, without suffering, with love and light, and you make shit happen. Okay? So that's all I got for you guys today. I'm so grateful that you guys are hanging out with me. I hope you take something along with you on your journey, and I will see you guys next month in August for another episode. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. You know I like to keep it real and authentic with y'all, because that's how true change comes about. Thank you so much for the love, and remember to share this episode and other episodes with a friend who may need to hear this. Stay you, stay Neo. See you next time.